I grew up in a small town in West Virginia, the kind of place where everyone knew each other's business. But no one talks much about Mark Henderson anymore. Mark was desperate for money. When a stranger came to town, offering a quick way to get rich, Mark didn't think twice. We all saw them talking, but nobody knew the details. A week later, Mark vanished. People thought he'd skipped town to dodge his debts. But then someone found his car parked near the old cemetery on the edge of town. We searched, but found nothing. Exactly 100 days later, Mark walked into the local bar. He was covered in dirt, eyes sunken, and skin pale like he hadn't seen sunlight in months. His clothes were torn, and he had this strange, twisted grin on his face. We all just stared. I was the first to speak. "Mark, where have you been?" I barely recognized my own voice. It was shaky, weak. Mark turned to me, still grinning. "I got what I wanted," he said, his voice low and rough, like he hadn't spoken in a long time. But I had to pay the price. Turns out, the stranger had offered Mark a ritual. Bury yourself alive for 100 days, and when you claw your way out, you'll be rich beyond imagination. It sounded insane, but Mark was desperate. He dug his own grave, set up a small air pipe, and had someone cover him up. He thought he'd wait it out, sleep through it, then wake up to a new life. But he didn't sleep. He told me how, after the first few days, the whispers started. Soft at first, then louder, like they were crawling through the dirt, slipping into his ears. They called his name, laughing, mocking him. "Did you really think you'd make it out?" they'd ask. He said he felt things moving around him, brushing against his skin, pulling at his legs, cold fingers pressing against his chest. "They wouldn't let me sleep," he said, his grin widening. "They wanted me to listen." He claimed he heard voices telling him about the others, the ones who tried before, who were buried just like him, but never made it out. He tried to scream, but the dirt muffled everything. He tried to breathe, but the air was thick, suffocating. We went out there the next day, to where he said he'd been buried. We found the hole and the pipe, but it was filled with dirt, clogged. No way he could have gotten air. We found his wallet, but no food, no water. And as we dug deeper, we uncovered something worse. Old, brittle bones, tangled up in the roots, like they'd been there for decades. There were more of them, all around, hidden beneath the earth. Mark never explained what he meant by getting what he wanted. He wasn't rich. He wasn't even sane. He'd just sit around town, rocking back and forth, whispering to himself, that same grin plastered on his face. "I paid the price," he'd murmur, over and over, "and I got what I wanted." A few weeks later, he disappeared again. Some say he wandered back to the cemetery, and now he's one of the whispers, calling out to anyone desperate enough to listen. Others say they see him at night, standing at the graveyard's edge, grinning, like he's waiting for someone. No one goes near that cemetery anymore. Sometimes when I pass by, I swear I can hear it. The whispers, soft and cold, like fingers crawling up my spine, saying my name, promising things I'm too afraid to ask for. Whatever happened to Mark down there, it didn't let him go, and maybe it never will.